I'm Ashok Tirwa. This week in the business file, we have the Chief Executive Officer of Agency for Promotion of Indigenous Crafts, Mr. Kezang, Kezang Chhoephel. So, Kuzangbo sir, and welcome to Business File. So, first of all, could you tell us what is the main mandate or the main role of this office, EPIC?
EPIC as such is Agency for Promotion of Indigenous Craft. So there we are looking towards the indigenous craft, so-called in another name we can also say Zorichusu. But our focus is to the rural craft, like cane and bamboo in Shemgam, metal craft in Pemagatsal, and wood turning and wood carving in Tashiangse, and so on and so forth, the rural craft actually. So we wanted to promote the quality, and also we wanted to promote the production volume of our rural crafts.
So could you tell us how does it work? You have an office in Thimphu, and then you are saying that you wanted to promote rural crafts in other parts of the country.
Yes, office is set up here in Thimphu, but all our activities are linked with the rural areas, like Byoka in Shemgang, Tsebar in Pemagatsal. So we intervene with the local products, as I mentioned, cane and bamboo in Byoka, by providing training and also assisting with some sort of relevant tools and implement, and also some designs, product designs, innovations. Everything has to be there in our long time products which is being done from our forefathers' time, and same type of product repeating again and again. And when the time changes, these are no more in use also. For example, like bangchung. Bangchung is actually meant for eating rice in it. Now when the time changes, nobody eats rice in the bangchung. So what we can do with the bangchung? Bangchung is a beautiful product. So we have to do something with bangchung. Likewise, in other areas also, we will try to diversify the utility of the products, and also we will try to improve the quality, and most importantly, we will also try to link with the market. So market as such, now we have Craft Bazaar in Thimphu. We will first link with the Thimphu Craft Bazaar, and then from Thimphu, we can also link with other customers.
So what you are trying to do is you are not only trying to revive the things that we used to use in past with that were made from indigenous products, indigenous raw materials that are used in the village, but you're also trying to find a market.
Yes.
Do you see a challenge there?
Challenge is there. What you have to do is now our indigenous products, our local products. So first of all, we have to recognize them by introducing the seal of origin. So we have to say the products made in Bhutan are made in Bhutan. So for that, we also have to have a seal of origin, and then that will recognize that the things are made in Bhutan. And the challenges there are, because most of the products are even coming from across the border, because these are all Buddhist products, similar type of products, like all the religious artifacts, like using in our culture, in religious activities. Most of the things are being produced across the border and coming into Bhutan. But reaching in Bhutan, we do not know whether it is made in Bhutan or it is made in outside. So there's a big challenge, because our local products are right now very minimum. Even the bamboo products is minimum. If demand is too high, then it is the challenge is we cannot supply also. So in that way, now what we are going to do, we want to increase the volume of production. We also wanted to authenticate our products, saying that using the seal of origin.
So authentication is one, but what I see is we already have better bamboo products coming from, let's say, Assam.
Yes.
We have seen that in our trade fairs.
Yes.
So that brings us to how far can we compete with these products,
Yes.
which are better in quality,
Yes.
and how are you looking at improving the quality of what we already have just now?
Yes. The bamboo furniture coming from Assam, very immediate of our neighbor. We can't challenge with them because the volume is so high, and the number one, the materials available in their localities in huge quantity. So in our place, in our localities, number one, our materials are limited, and number two, our production is also in a low volume. So now what we want to do is, those products coming from our neighboring states, we can't qualify them as made in Bhutan. The difference is that. So even if they are coming in huge amount in our country, we will still say it is coming from the outside. But even if we are producing very less, few quantity in our country, we can qualify them as made in Bhutan. So this is difference. And in the future, our hope is we could also produce some certain amount which will not be that sufficient to all the customers, but still will have available in the market.
So are you saying that just because we have that made in Bhutan seal, that will be enough for you to sell these products made in Bhutan?
Yes, because using the seal of origin, it will definitely say that these products are made in Bhutan, number one. And then accordingly, the products sold in our market will be too Bhutanese. Right now what is happening is the items, products made in outside, I think maybe some people are claiming that these are made in Bhutan. So that is shameful to the nation. So we don't want to create in that way. We will say this is made in outside. We will not totally stop them. We will not say it's not allowed to bring in, but we will say this is made in outside, this is made in Bhutan. So that differentiate is required. And then only we can claim that this is authentic Bhutanese craft.
So when you are producing this kind of product, what kind of market are you targeting now?
So number one, our market is local consumption, because we cannot produce in large quantity. And then if we have very appealing products, like very useful in a sense, like kitchen items, if we can make a very useful local products and also reasonable price, I think it's a domestic consumption only. And if we look for the bigger market outside, so number one, we have to have a volume, produce in a large quantity. That will be difficult at the initial stage. What we wanted to do, we wanted to produce the true Bhutanese products with the seal of origin, and our first market target is local consumption. Yes.
So, but who comes up with the idea to make this bamboo into a fine drinking glass?
Thank you very much. This is actually, this one, very recently, last November, we conducted a 2-week product design and innovation training in Kezang. We have joined hands with the NID in Ahmedabad, India, National Institute for Designing, and we signed MOU with them because NID is very famous in all the craft works. So it doesn't mean that we wanted to copy the products of the NID and bring into Bhutan. No, because they are quite experienced in this field. We wanted to add some values. So our training venue was in Kezang. And then we called up all our artisans from Kezang, Bumthang, and even from Mongar and Trashigang, but few they couldn't come. And then during that 2 weeks training in Kezang, these ideas all came from the local artisans only. And on top of this, the basic idea is from the rural artisans only. And since NID is very expert in this field, they added some value in it. So the products came like that.
So what was the value addition here?
Here, what happened, a long time back, what they did, they cut this bamboo and cut from here and then kept like that. And they were using that. That was the idea. Okay. Now what NID did, they made little bit round shape and sandpapering, and also added some patterns here, finishings. These are the value addition only. Otherwise, just cut the bamboo, and then it can use for
That
cup.
can still hold the water.
That can still hold the water, but NIT has added this thing.
So it looks more attractive.
Yes, yes.
And then it also qualifies as any other
Yes,
glasses that you find in the market.
Yes, yes.
So what are the other products that you have?
So see, even this tea coaster, this is purely made of bamboo, but mixed with the thread, yarn and all. And these are their products, because tea coasters they found was, some are made on paper and wood and all this coming from outside. Some tea coasters are made out of seashells also, no? And then these also they brought by these local artisans. They made, and they thought this can be used as tea coaster. And then what the NID did, they said, so they just made only with bamboo. Bamboo they made and stitched in between and made the tea coaster. And the NID said, now we have to mix some products, mix some skills. So why don't we mix the yarn and the bamboo, because these two things will go very well, they said together. So they just, these are addition, mixing with the yarn is done by the NID. So it became tea coastal. And then also we have like this table, see? This table is being produced by one of the women from the Byoka. She thought she can make a table, but that time this wasn't there. And even the joint was in our own way, not in this stitching the manner. It was just joined, two things like this. And then, but the framework and the structure was actually thought by that woman.
So the artisans come with a crude idea.
Yes.
And then what this office does is you refine it,
and
make
then,
it more
and I
attractive.
did it. While she was making the thing, the 4 legs were there, and here also she made with a sort of bamboo, and this was there, of course, but this wasn't there. But NID, they added value. They said if we can put some pattern, bamboo pattern here, and also put these things, it will look beautiful, and this will be saleable, it will be usable.
So how much this table would cost?
Basically, the rate we could not fix right now, but for that woman, it took 2 days for her to complete this. 2 days to complete this. So even if we are calculating the national workforce rate per day, this will hardly cost about 200 to 300 making cost, and then she may need some profit topped up on it. This will hardly go for 500.
Okay. So when you're talking about production, will it be in a larger scale, or at least when you come up with a design for one table? So minimum, how many are you going to produce? What is the target? How does it work?
Yes, right now, since this is very, very initial, and then the idea totally came from the rural artisans. And then once they produced this one during the training duration, and it came up very well. So we thought, now we request them to produce more. And right now, our first step, we said, you please produce 50 each. I said 50 each. And I also gave them some deadline. By the end of March this year, they have to bring all the products in Thimphu. All the different products. We have about 15, 16 new designs and innovation.
So they'll have to bring it on their own?
They have to bring here. And then after reaching here, what we do, we have craft bazaar here, who deals with the crafts. Then what this office will do, we will organize a small meeting, which is so-called buyer-sellers meet. And then the producers from Shemgang will come here. They will not bring all the thing, they will bring one sample each. And then here, after reaching here, we will call all the craft dealers. And then those who are interested, we will call here and conduct a meeting, the buyer-sellers meet. There, what will happen? What is their original cost? What the profit margin it should be? And then at what rate they are going to sell? So they will discuss, the EPIC will support, facilitate. And then we fix direct from producer to the seller, buyer-sellers meet. that is why we are doing this is we don't want to involve middle person people there. Otherwise, most of our products from the rural products nowadays, what's happening is the bigger portion of profit is going to the middleman. So to curb that, we will conduct bioceres meet here in Thimphu. So that way, I hope.
It will be some kind of trade fair or something like that. Or just,
So
how will you identify this?
Initially, we have 80 people dealing with crafts here in our craft bazaar. So among 80 craft dealers, some are dealing with bamboo cane and bamboo works. All these things we identify all these people and let them meet and then let them discuss and let them settle. So that we will do. So in the future, if we have larger scale of production from our rural artisans, then we will also include in the trade fair. We will also set up a few stalls in the trade fair, and then we will just make the rural artisans themselves to come and sell. These kind of things will be there. Yes.
So when you're talking about the places, few places that you have identified just now, with certain bamboo products,
Yes.
do you see avenues or do you see other places have a potential to produce other indigenous crafts in Bhutan?
So now that's a very good question. Now what's happening is the number one, as I told you, the materials is scarce in our country. It's very scarce. It's very difficult to get. Now, for example, in Tashigang Kangpara, Kangpara is a very good for bamboo work. They produce the best bangchung in the country. Now, the sad thing is, now they don't have the material there. It is now vanishing. So that is one of the worry that the plantation, I don't know how can we replace that. Because since many years back, they have been doing all this thing, always harvesting annually. And now, so-called that bangchung, the material which is for bangchung is called yula, no? In our local language, yula. That yula is now disappearing, no more. So in that way, that is the challenge. But in case of Shamgang, the agriculture ministry, they have done a very good job, excellent job. Since a couple of years back, the forestry department, they have introduced the plantation system and the harvesting system. They also have bylaws there because artisans, they cannot directly go to the forest and harvest, cut down it on their own will. But there is a date, time, they can do. Because in a year, they can, I think, go for 1 or 2 days, harvest whatever they wanted and come back. After that, no harvest. So this kind of discipline and the maintenance of the stock will sustain. Otherwise, it's difficult. And in other crafts, like, in Tashiangse, if you talk, we are just talking about the wood turning, no? Wood turning and lacquering and bowls and all, which is being produced in Tashiangse. But even in Tashiangse, what's happening is now the local materials are very, very scarce. It's very difficult. What they are doing, the people from Tashiangse, I think the whole winter season, they are in other Dzongkhaksla. They come to Chukha, they come to Tongsa, Bumta, even in, Dagana they are going. They get permit from the forest, and then they go to the forest, they cut down with the permit, they get the, rough-shaped bowls, rough-shaped, burrs, and even the, timbers like timbers from red and white maples. They gather here and they transport all the way to Tashiangse and make bowls there. Because in the local, is almost exhausted. So these kind of things are there. So how to manage this one is a difficult challenge.
So what are you doing about it? Because you have now established an office with a focus to help this indigenous crafts.
Yes.
Now, when we will be in, when the raw materials is in short supply, so how are you going to deal with that?
So now for the woodworks, one of our suggestion is, one of our idea is, now, the people in Tashiangse, for making bowls and all, they are a little bit selective. They can use only maple tree, avocado tea, rhodo tea, and a few species only. Okay, now what we wanted to suggest is, why don't we try with other timbers also? Other timbers are there plenty. So the thing is, we have to season them properly. If we season the timber properly with all sort of wood, we can make balls. We can lacquer it. It will become a beautiful craft. It will, because now since the craft in Tashiangse has been inherited, no, coming from the forefather to father son, and then they were just given the advice to use this timber only. I think that we may have to diversify a little bit, and then I think we can solve the problem of the raw materials.
So far, what kind of support have you received from the government?
It's very much, because EPIC has happened because of the government only. This is government initiatives. So, since our now preservation of our cultural heritage, and this is one, our handicraft is one within the arena of cultural heritage, and then the government has taken right steps in the right time.
So there is a policy support. Is there a financial support as well?
Yes, because right now EPIC is financed 100% by the government. And then EPIC should do well, and EPIC should stand on its own feet, and then it will become an autonomous agency. And without government support, this would not have happened.
So what kind of investment do you see for the future?
Right now, what we have to do, we have to have a permanent craft bazaar in Thimphu. The present one, we have a long line down there. Have you seen?
Yeah.
All the huts? This is government initiative. This was established and inaugurated in September last year, October last year, coinciding with the royal wedding of His Majesty the King and the Queen, Kezang. Okay, so that was one of the symbolic, the products, symbolic thing that we could do in Bhutan, showing the traditional arts and craft. So, which is one of our, indigenous skills that we have in Bhutan. But since the permanent land was not there, it has been, established on that Norzin Lam. The time given was only for 2 years. And now the government, there is instruction from the government that we have to establish a permanent craft bazaar. The craft bazaar should be in such a way, with the indigenous architect, in indigenous way. And then right now we are exploring for land. We are also taking 100% support from the government. And I hope in the near future we can establish a permanent craft bazaar in Thimphu.
So the craft bazaar that we have at the moment, wouldn't that place be suitable for a permanent craft bazaar?
So it is the best place actually, but still it is in the heart of the town. The thing is the excess of vehicular movement and all. There will be little inconvenience. And also, as a craft bazaar, right now you see it's just a hut, and then no other basic amenities there. So once it is a bazaar land permanently established, there should be a proper drinking water supply, there should be proper toilet, and all these things should be there. Right now, it's just temporary bamboo hut, and if we can innovate that area even, there are a lot of ideas which we have planned to submit to the government also. Worst to worst comes, if we don't have the place in other places, we have to develop in the same place with a different type of design and ideas.
So you have a lot of products,
Yeah.
very creative and innovative ideas have been put together
Yeah.
to come up with a lot of, for instance, I say this necklace.
Yes.
It's very attractive. So you have come up with a lot of products like this. What kind of response have you seen in the market?
Right now, just very recently we have conducted a small show in the Nehru Wangchuk hall, and then we also did some advertisement in the TV, and there's a good response. Even on that very day when we conducted our exhibition in Nehru Wangchuk, they were asking, do you have some more products we wanted to buy? But we just had only one each. And therefore, immediately we have called to our artisans in Shemgang, please now start producing. So because demand will be there, people will go for this. people will, the market will be there anyway, because only the thing is the production, that is the failing part.
Because what I see is it is not only for to showcase, but there's a practical uses of all these products.
Yes, usable things. See, just see here, this thing you see, it's just bamboo, and the design is here, they made with bamboo. And then you can keep your whiskey, your beer and everything bottles here.
Yeah, water bottle.
Yeah, water bottle, everything you can keep in your home. This is domestic. Therefore, what I mentioned in the earlier, our market is domestic consumption. So we can keep in our house. For example, this is for suja. See, you can churn in it. Yeah, suja. So these are mainly for domestic products and made out of local materials, and cost won't be that high. And this will sometimes replace some of the items of plastic and aluminium.
So are you always going to focus on the domestic market, or over the period of time when the products are good enough for international market, you are going to look beyond domestic markets?
Yes, that is the main thing, because once it is attracted by our domestic consumers, and then our craft bazaar will be there in Thimphu, and all these products will be in our craft bazaar. So in the craft bazaar, mainly our aim is with the tourist, so they can also buy. So that's that way we can just promote the marketing of our local products.
So on that note, I'd like to thank you very much for your time here, to talking to us, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you.
In the future. So on that note, I'd also like to thank our viewers for joining us. Do join us every Tuesday at 9:30 p.m. for another Business File program. I'm your host Ashok Tirwa. This is goodbye.